Hi everyone! With the holiday season in full swing, one of my favorite things about Christmas is getting to look at all of the Christmas lights. So last week I got to go look at some Christmas lights which were super magical, and I wanted to take you guys along with me for the ride. So please enjoy a little Christmas light magic, and then I'll meet you back here to talk about the science behind Christmas lights. There are two main types of Christmas lights, and well, like light bulbs in general, and that is incandescent lights and LED lights. I'm gonna first start by talking about incandescent lights. So these have some sort of filament inside of them. I think kind of like along the lines of the very first light bulb or the classic light bulb drawing, where you have a glass bulb, you have a piece of wire inside or a filament, and a lot of times that is made out of tungsten due to its conducting properties. The way an incandescent light bulb works is you run an electrical current through that filament, and in response to that current or conducting that electricity, the filament starts to heat up. It gets really hot. And as the filament heats up, it starts to emit light. And that light is what you see in a light bulb. And the light coming out of an incandescent light bulb is related to the temperature of that filament. Now, because this filament is getting so hot, there is a risk of combustion for incandescent light bulbs. So that's why if you look inside of an incandescent light bulb, doesn't look like there's anything there. There's actually no oxygen inside of an incandescent light bulb because it would potentially burst into flames if there was oxygen in there. And without any oxygen or any gas present, the filament would just degrade over time. So what's actually inside of your incandescent light bulbs is argon or another inert gas that is going to protect the filament from degrading, but isn't going to burst into flames when it gets hot, which is something we like about our light bulbs. Now, the reason that when you heat up this filament it starts to emit light is due to a principle in physics called black body radiation. So a black body radiator is an object theorized in physics. It basically takes in all incoming radiation and light and emits it back out at a certain wavelength or a certain amount depending on like physics and the temperature of the light system. So if I was an ideal black body radiator, which I am not, the light from my studio light, the light from my Christmas tree, even the lights bouncing off, like this bag is reflecting blue light back at me, this Christmas tree is reflecting green light back at me. I'm taking in all of that light, but I'm not emitting blue light back out. I guess I'm wearing a blue dress, cast some blue in my dress, but like I'm not turning into the color blue because blue light's shining back at me, not changing into the color green because green light is reflecting back at me. I am emitting the same type of light. I still look like me, and I'm not changed because of the wavelengths coming in. So an incandescent light bulb is taking in that electrical current heat, and the tungsten filament is emitting it out in the form of a certain wavelength of light, and also a lot of heat associated with that. And that's actually a negative side of incandescent light bulbs, is the fact that they are very energy inefficient. So if you've ever noticed, they get really warm. So in addition to light, they're also putting out heat, and that heat is basically lost energy to us because it's not being emitted in the light range that we can see. It's being emitted as heat. So the US government has actually put bans on certain incandescent light bulbs that are below an energy amount. But don't worry, Christmas lights are safe from that ban or restrictions on incandescent lights. Now to talk about LEDs. So LED stands for light emitting diode. I know, weird, you're probably wondering what a diode is. So a diode is a material that is made out of semiconductors that allows electricity to flow in one direction. Also kind of a confusing definition if you don't know anything about electricity or semiconductors. So a semiconductor is a material that has conducting properties somewhere between something like an insulator that doesn't conduct electricity at all, think like rubber or plastic are good insulators, and a good conductor. So like that tungsten filament I talked about for an incandescent light bulb is a good conductor. Semiconductors are somewhere in between. And they are made out of different materials that you can have a whole range of conducting properties to these semiconductors that are really good for certain building options. You see semiconductors a lot in electronics because scientists or inventors are trying to control the flow of electricity through those devices to have them perform a certain purpose. So to make an LED, you need actually two types of semiconductors. So you need one type of semiconductor that has a lot of extra electrons in it. And electrons are a part of an atom that is negatively charged. And electrons have a lot of energy. They are everywhere, flying everywhere. They have a lot of energy. And if an electron gains more energy or loses energy, something crazy happens in the physics world. That's just kind of a good physics rule. If electrons gain energy, something weird is going to happen. If electrons lose energy, something weird is going to happen. Electrons be crazy. So one type of semiconductor has a lot of extra electrons just running around being all crazy. And the other type of semiconductor it's missing a lot of electrons. So it's got a lot of holes in it because those electrons are gone. It doesn't have enough electrons, there's little holes in it. So what happens in a diode is you sandwich with a semiconductor that has too many electrons in it with a semiconductor that's got not enough electrons in it. And the electrons, when you start to run a current through it, the electrons go crazy and they start running around with all that energy, and they go fill in all of those holes in the other type of semiconductor. And when they fill in all those other holes in the semiconductor, they start to calm down a little bit. It's kind of like if kids were all running around on the playground and then got called back inside and had to go sit down. They've lost energy because the electrons have gone from running around to chilling in the holes in the other type of semiconductor. And remember what I said, when an electron gains or loses energy, something strange happens. And in this case, when the electrons go from running all around to sitting and chilling in the holes in that semiconductor, it's lost energy. And that energy is lost in the form of light or a photon. So a photon is like a particle of light. So the electrons lose energy, release a photon, and that's how we have an LED, or a light emitting diode, because all of those electrons that are running through the diode, filling in those holes and losing energy, are releasing a bunch of light. And different materials to make different semiconductors will result in different colors of light being created. That was a lot of crazy information about Christmas lights, or lights in general, and how they work. But it's just one more thing that makes this holiday season a little bit more magical. Today's fun fact that I want us to rate is that the United States uses 6.63 billion kilowatt hours of electricity, or enough power to run 14 million refrigerators on Christmas lights each year. That is a crazy, shocking amount of electricity, but I think it's worth it. Please drop that rating for the fun fact in the comments below. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please like it, please subscribe to my channel, tell all your friends about it. Follow me on Instagram. I post on every Tuesday and Friday with a special upcoming Christmas episode, bonus Christmas episode coming. And remember to keep it sciencey.